Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the closing bell this Friday, March 24th, 2017, here at MarketStream.live. My name is Joseph Cusick with the Cusick Group. Securities offered by Money Block. Didn't happen. Ryan just spoke, basically just said, don't know, couldn't get it done. This now puts tax reform in the forefront. But what's interesting is since it didn't go to a vote, which I think this was strategic, even though there will be debate on this statement, it means that you can bring this bill back up either later this month, this year, 2018, who knows. But at least it's not DOA. And from that respect, just looking at it from that respect, because a lot of these cuts were going to parlay into deeper tax reform components. And so, there's a slippery slope in all of this. But what the market told us is, regardless of whether or not we think it's a slippery slope, we're still in this bullish range. The bears did take a little bit of control on the short-term basis. It looked a lot worse earlier in the afternoon after it was confirmed that there was going to be no vote. But the Dow Jones held up, down 59 at 20,096. The S&P 500, it held up and is trading at down to at 2,344. And the NASDAQ continues to hold right at that 20-day moving average. So there wasn't as much damage, and it's holding that support there at 53.58, finished at 53.64. The Russell 2000 was impressive today. It was up for most of the day. This was the most impressive index of all. I think the fact that the hospitals and healthcare segments aren't going to get beat up as bad as what was concerned with a potential passage of this new AHCA bill took a little pressure off some of these domestically centric stocks. More importantly, it's now putting what everybody's been waiting for, which is the discussion and putting into play tax reform, which has to get done, as well as infrastructure discussions. And that's going to really impact these domestically centric stocks. They need some work, and they need to get back up into this range so that the bulls are back in control. But right now, they're a little weaker than the general market. Volatility was very interesting today. Got up as high as 1410. Full disclosure, I did have a working order out there, removed the VIX exposure that I had for my client accounts. I am now out of that going into the weekend. The dollar continues to waffle below 100, but it did garner a little bit of strength towards the close. Couldn't hold it. Finished at 99.71. Crude did pick up. Even though we have had rig counts continue to increase here in the United States, that means that we're pumping more oil out of the shale and sands and all that other stuff here in the States. Oil got a little bit of a boost. And you could credit that to some positive economic data this week. You've seen both domestic and global PMIs, those purchasing managers indices. They were all positive, really spelling out some expectation of future growth by producers. You're also seeing that the on another catalyst for crude potentially is the fact that even though we are having larger builds than what is expected in the storage side, you are seeing bigger draws on the gasoline side. And now that we're transitioning into that new cycle of spring and summer gas, let's see if that continues. That could be a good pulse. As far as Brent, finished the day basically flat. The bonds are still holding up, and they've come off of their best levels today, but both the short end and the long end of the curve have held up. What's notable here is that if you actually go look at the Fed Fund futures and the CME tool, the probability of raising rates in June is now at right around 49%. So it's pulled off. It was a little bit over 50%. So that's pulling off a little bit. We're going to watch that very closely. So, all right, folks, it has been a wonderful week. I have some new plans for some upcoming shows next week. We're going to have some potentially new guests. But I'm really going to start throwing out some 1-minute tidbits and explanations and education for those of you that are new, and even those of you who are seasoned. It's always good to reaffirm and build that foundation. So look forward to those new, shorter, but yet more powerful segments that are going to be coming out here at MarketStream.live. Have a great weekend. Join us on Sunday night. I'm going to be back on Sunday Night Setups. Goodness knows there's going to be plenty of fodder over the weekend that's going to give us some setups for next week. We'll see you then and have a great weekend.